All right, so let's kind of do a quick orientation of this. Once you have Premiere Pro open, your view may look different than mine. That's okay. There's a number of things that we can do to try to improve this. Looking at the file structure, the tabs at the top. Okay, so first thing that we want to do is we want to reset workspaces. You can create your own workspaces if you find a good flow. That's okay. I usually actually spend most of my time in the editing workspace. So if this ever looks different or I added stuff that's not normally in my flow, I will reset to the previous one. Now, if you end up setting up something that you really, really like and you want to keep it going, then you can save that as a new workspace. You could give it a name, and then that's what you can go to. Okay, so I want to reset, and it's going to reload everything. So just to show you that working, maybe I am adjusting some stuff. I want in here, I want, my graphics. I want the metered color. I want to see my color scopes. So you can quickly see that this is getting a little crazy. Okay, we have all of these windows that now we're trying to manage, and this may be too much for editing on just one screen. So I can just go to Workspaces, I can reset to the save layout, now I'm seeing it back how I want. So this is very, very useful for me. Okay, now we have up at the top, we have import, which that's what you already seen. These are the things that we were importing. Again, we can import. I showed you how to do it when we create a project, or we can import by just dragging and dropping. Now, usually at the top, this is our source window so that we can see the files and choose what we want. We usually can see our effects to add special effects here. You have metadata if you really wanted to edit stuff with this. An audio clip mixer. Most of the time I don't touch these. I play with the source and I do with effects controls. Okay, this is the program monitor. This is where you would see the stuff that you're working on your timeline. Okay, you would see the flow of it. When you're trying to do cuts and stuff, you can see how they will match up, where the end points for the tails of your pieces of files would be. Okay, down here, this is our project folder. So this is our folder structure for just our Premiere Pro project. We can see the assets here. Once we create a timeline, we'll start seeing a sequence that will show up. So you can also see like they will have different looks on them to let us know what they are. These are showing that they are files, like picture files. Here I see the video icon and I see the audio icon, letting me know that this file has both video and audio. Now I can read different things on here to see more about it, like this was recorded at 30 frames per second. Useful to know if you are planning on doing slow-mo and stuff like that. Any type of special effects where you're adjusting the speed, especially if you're going slower, it will not look very good unless you record at a higher frame rate. We can see the length of the video, if we have in and out points, and different information. Okay, this is also telling us what it's recorded at. This is recorded at low HD, so 1280 by 720, and the audio is at 4400, 44,000 for audio, so that's pretty decent. Okay, there's different ways that we can look at it. We can look at our folder structure in a number of different ways. If we want to maximize something, we can highlight it with the blue highlighting around it, and we can click the key right above the tab key, and to the left of the 1 key, it's got that little tilde thing. We click that, and that will maximize that current selected window for us to be able to do stuff. So in here, we could, create new folders, which we call bins. We can organize them. We can lock files, make them so they're read and write only. We can add new items in here, sequences, adjustment layers, bars and tone, black video, color matte, any of these things. These are things that we could use to help with our edit. Okay. This is our editing toolbar. We will be talking about these. Each one has a thing for it. If it has a drop down next to the button, that gives us more options for what we want to do to help speed up our editing. Okay, now our timeline. This is the next thing. This is where you will actually put all your film together, and it just is forming a normal timeline. We can have 99 video tracks, 99 audio tracks, all stacked on top of each other, so it's building like an onion. It's all layers. Okay, over to the right, this is our audio. We want to try to get audio as close to 0, but without it ever peaking, which would mean that the top 2 parts would light up. That would mean that we have actually crushed our audio, and so that's when you start having feedback sounds. So you don't want to have it crush, but you want it as close to 0 as possible, so that we can be able to adjust audio in different places. So that is the orientation of this. Now looking at the tabs up here, anything that we have to do with file, we're going to use here. So if you wanted to open up another project, you could do that. You want to close this project, you want to do this. You finish the day, you're going to click Save All or Save. Make sure you're saving your stuff. You can also import specifically from here, and we can get into actual file settings where we're saving different stuff, how we want to affect the size of our screens, that type of stuff. We can go into here. So here's our ingest settings, our scratch disk. If you're looking at real fast speed, you can make some changes into that. How we're rendering, that's all stuff that we can do. If we go into the project manager settings, this gives us some stuff for being able to collect files. So really anything that we're doing with file we can do over here. Exporting, when we're done, we would want to export our media. There's this way. It's actually easier for us to export this through the tab, which I'll be explaining. We have other stuff that we can use. The edit tab, we can look at stuff, we can spell check, we can do our ripple deletes, any of that stuff. Cut and copy, just like what you would normally do. Clip would give us different options, and some of these you'll get more options that will show up once we actually have stuff on there. So when we're looking at our clips, we can see this. When we're looking at our sequence, we get options up here. And there's duplicates of how to do this. I can add tracks here, but I can also add tracks directly in the sequence. If we add markers for pointing out for editing to music beats, things like that, specific points in time, we can create markers here. We can also create them in the timeline. Adding graphics, if we add graphics, this is additional options that we have for our graphics. And then how we want to view, we can adjust pause resolution when we're playing back. We can adjust from doing full resolution to maybe half, fourth, or an eighth. If you're wanting to do stuff with a lot of edits and things, as you're making all of those changes, you may not want to have everything be at full resolution because it'll slow your stuff down. This is also where you can add rulers and things like that. And then we looked at windows already for us to be able to add and pull away different things that we need to use. So different tab that we need to have for anything that we want. So we want special effects. We're going to need to make sure that we have the effects. Okay. Now most of these, if there is multiple things in there, it's like I have effect controls here, but now I also have multiple things here. So I have info for what we're working on. I have effects. I have markers. I can look for effects. I can type up for effects. I can look for transitions. I can do all of that stuff to make a cool, awesome project. Okay, so that is orientation for Premiere Pro on the different windows. We will start talking more about specific buttons and things like that. All right, good luck. Have fun.